guys, if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. Hey guys, I'm here, you're here, we're all here. And not only am I here, but I'm sparkly because I've been wrapping gifts tonight and I'm in the festive mood. It is December 10th and it's 9:27 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be looking at the Q drops today. There was a substantial drop and that's what we're going to be going over and getting caught up on. Now, I just want to say this at the beginning because I don't want anybody to feel that I've cheated them. But this channel has chatter, Q, a substantial amount of Q, probably a substantial amount of chatter, and cats. If you don't like one of those things, probably not the channel for you. So don't wait until halfway through my video to say, would you just shut up and read the Q post? Because no, I won't. You get some chatter here. So there you go. I don't want anybody to say that I didn't warn them. All right, and I'm not offended if you leave and find another channel. There's lots of good people that are covering Q, lots of them. So there you go. Now let's get into Q. Really interesting drop today. Of course, all of Q's drops are interesting, but there's a different feel to them, and maybe it's just me. And I'm not suggesting that Q has changed or it's a different person or anything like that, but it just has a different feel to it. And maybe it's just me, but if you guys are feeling that too, put it in the comments below. Maybe it's because we're moving towards the apex now and things are starting to fly together at a rapid speed. It's like when you're doing a big puzzle, the first pieces take a long time to fit. And you're looking for that other piece among the 5,000 or 10,000 other pieces that fit with this one piece. And it takes forever. But when that puzzle is almost done and the picture is starting to emerge, putting it together becomes so much easier because you go, oh, okay, that piece looks like a piece of face. That must go here. Oh, this looks like hair. This must go here. And so that is what I find is happening right now. Everything is flying together very, very quickly, whereas before it used to take a long time to get anything substantial, but now it's coming so quickly and it's really hard to keep up because a lot of this stuff touches on stuff that we haven't looked at for a year or so, and then all of a sudden it's being brought out again. So anyway, interesting times that we're living in, very interesting times. So this first post today, it was a picture. Well, actually there was two pictures. The first was this, and I know that you can't see this, so I'm going to go out to a bigger format so that you can see it. I know a lot of you are listening on your phones and tablets, but there are two pictures here, and underneath Q says, the world is watching. Well, indeed, the world is watching. If someone is watching from the South Pole and they're there all covered up with a US flag and a Q sign, where we go one, we go all. Quite exciting, to tell you the truth, because there's not a whole lot of people in the South Pole, usually just researchers. So united, not divided, together we win. Where we go one, we go all. Q. Let's take a closer look at these pictures and see what we can see. And here we go. Now this is the first one. I'm going to make it bigger. I can't make it too much bigger than that unless I do Control Plus. I guess I can do that. And we've got the yellow vest protesters in France. I would assume this is taken in France. And we have the four people with Q signs here. We have another gentleman with a big Q on his shirt. Here we have somebody with a Q on their yellow vest, and where we go one, we go all, with the qmap.pub pointing to the website. Here again, we have a Q here. Where we go one, we go all. Now, we wouldn't expect to see that in France, would we? We wouldn't expect to see that anywhere in Europe. If we listen to the mainstream media, we would think that the whole world hates Donald Trump, right? That is the impression that we would get if we were relying solely on the mainstream media. That's the conclusion that we'd come to. So it's quite unusual to see this. And this says, Oh, still think Q is a LARP? No, I don't think Q is a LARP at all. I'm really not 100% sure what Q is. I know that he, she, they are legit. No question about that. No question about that. And I know that they are working with Trump because there's too much coordination between the tweets that we saw going on even today. So yeah, not a LARP. And here again we have Q, QAnons, another Q here. Not exactly sure what that says. That says for pedophile democrat instead of Democrat. And down here, Q sent me more Qs. So interesting. Very interesting. Now, let's go back to the tweets, or to the, I always want to call it a tweet instead of a drop. It's not a tweet. All right, and we're going to go here. Excuse me. There we go. And this is amazing, if you ask me, because this person is in the geographic South Pole. And yeah, there they are. Bet you it's cold there. I was complaining about the cold here today. I bet you it's nothing compared to what this person is facing. And they've hidden their face, but probably for good reason, because I know here when it gets down to 30 below, you have to cover your face because any exposed skin will freeze if exposed to the open air for very long. So obviously that's what this person is doing, has themselves well covered, and probably for a couple reasons, because it's cold and probably because they don't want anybody to know who it is. They possibly could be fired. I don't know. But very interesting. So Q says, yeah, the world is watching. We know that. We know the world is watching. And this is just further proof. United, not divided. Together, we win. It seems like the whole world is clamoring for the same thing, which worries me a little bit, because I don't believe that peace will come. Not true peace. There may be an interlude of peace, but I personally do not believe that true peace is possible on this earth, aside from Christ returning. And yeah, I won't get into that. Let's stick to Q. All right, now here is the next post, and again, it is well, it's explaining something here, and we're going to go out and make that bigger as well so that you guys can see exactly what is being spoken here, because it's important. Then, well, actually, let's go out and do it as we're, in order here, so that it'll make sense to everybody. That's not where I wanted to go. Hang on here. You guys are very patient, and I appreciate it. Come on. All right. It's getting there. It takes a bit. This is a big board. All right. It's this right here that we're looking at. And that makes it hard to see too. I was sure. Let's go back to where Q posted, see if I can get a bigger picture there, because it's critical that you guys see this. If you haven't already. Probably some of you have. Ooh, I'm way behind here. Let me see here. December 10th. Okay. Let's go down. We're going to get there. Really. It's coming. It's coming. Here we are. Okay. Maybe this is going to give us a bigger. And it is. Thank you. I don't know who I'm thanking. The 8chan gods. I don't know. Anyway, so this is a picture of a bunch of tweets that he's, or not tweets, but drops that he's put together from different anons, and it says, "It's happening, bros. I repeat, it's happening." And then down here it says, "It's 3 o'clock. What the F is he doing up?" And then someone said, keeping it real. Oh, shit, it's midnight. He did it himself. Holy mother of F. I tweeted this to show I listen. This is the only post I will make. He walks among us. And down here. So the Anons are just chit-chatting amongst themselves as they do. Nothing unusual here yet. Reminder that this happened. And then we're coming down to here, and this is the one that Q is drawing our attention to by this anon. It says, Mr. Trump, if you actually do lurk here and you like this meme, use the word amazing somehow in your next tweet. This will be a wink. Sorry. This will be a wink and a nod on the down low that you appreciate all of us here. Thank you. Make America great again. So this anon is, and I guess he's referring to this meme here. It said, if you actually do lurk here and you like this meme, please use the word amazing somehow in your next tweet. And then he says, this will be a wink and a nod on the down low that you appreciate all of us here. Now, that's not the first time that an anon has asked Q. It's the first time to my knowledge that anyone has asked President Trump to acknowledge it in a tweet. Now, they've asked Q, and Q has coordinated it with Trump before, or perhaps it was actually Trump, because we know that at times Q is President Trump. That's been pretty much a done thing. I mean, I think most people would agree that's happening. So this anon asks this, and then we come over here, and it's interesting because, let me see, it says, in your next tweet, points down to here, it says, very next tweet. Well, this was his very next tweet. Colorado was amazing yesterday. So much support. Our tax, trade, and energy reforms will bring great jobs to Colorado and the whole country. And then underneath it says, and it's got, I love this Trump train picture. It says, only Trump can unite America and fix Obama's mistakes. And that is from Donald Trump as well. So now, let me see here. Let's go over more and see what else is here. So yeah, and here it's just pointing to a bigger one, but he did it. So here's this anon saying respectfully, Mr. Trump, would you, in your next tweet, use the word amazing? It'll be a nod to us here that we're doing a good job. And he does. Now, if that's not proof of Q, I don't know what is. Really, what's the mathematical probability of that happening, or improbability? It's got to be astronomical. So yeah, it's pretty amazing stuff. These people that keep saying, okay, you guys are mentally ill. You guys, you've got issues. This is not happening. This is all made up. It's just a conspiracy. Well, really? How do you explain things like this that keep happening over and over and over and over? Really? They just keep happening. And yet, people keep insisting. Well, methinks they doth protest too much. Don't you? I do. All right, let's go back. So underneath that, we've got a tweet, and this actually goes to what we just looked at. So I don't see any reason for us to go out and look at the tweet again. We've already seen it, the tweet where he said amazing. And underneath it says scot-free. Where we go one, we go all. Air Force One code change. Q0 is now Q plus. So Q plus, when you see a Q plus on the board now, it means that it is POTUS posting from Air Force One. That's what he's telling us. When you see Q plus, you know that it's POTUS and he's on Air Force One. So Q, POTUS, Twitter, Zero Delta exchanges. fake news coordinated attacks. Number 2, only to POTUS. So right now there's a fake news coordinated attack on POTUS, more so than on Q right now. Back channel, how do you safely and securely communicate through a back channel with the public and bypass the fake news media? Well, we already know that, right? Because he's been doing it for a year. He's been bypassing the media and getting his message to those who support him, and doing so in a very effective way. And those that aren't well versed with the chans and can't navigate for themselves, there are those of us that will take the information and disseminate it, either in video or on websites or however. That's how it's been working for a year. They've tried to get around it. They've tried to censor. They've tried to censor the conservatives because it's the conservatives that are getting this stuff out there and they want it stopped. That's why all the censoring. But it hasn't been working. He's been getting his message out just fine. Just fine. And without the media. So that's how you bypass the fake news media. How do you safely and securely communicate without breaking the law and violating national security? Well, you do it exactly like he's been doing it. That's what he's been doing. He's been letting us know the things that we are able to know, and he's hinted at other things to allow us to dig further into it ourselves. It's like the analogy that I used before of cracking nuts. Why would somebody buy nuts in the shell as opposed to just getting a bag of nuts and being able to eat them? Why? Because a lot of people get that enjoyment out of cracking that nut, the sound of it cracking and digging out all that meat. And it tastes so much better for the work you have to put in it. Same with crab legs, same with lobsters, all that stuff. People enjoy eating that stuff. You have to work to get at it, and it's fun. And that's what Q does. He points us in the direction, then we got to get the meat out, right? We got to get the meat out of the nut. We got to get the meat out of the crab legs, so that's what's happening. And that's exactly, he's been doing it very, very well. Add multiple layers of coincidences which mathematically prove legitimately within, because the mathematical probability is outside the standard deviation. So it's not, if you added all the coincidences that have happened in this movement together, what would be the odds? Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what the odds are. Okay? Really. No, seriously. I really am. The odds of that happening is the same as if you went down to the paint store and you asked for just a bunch of different colored paints, good quality paint, okay? And you set it all in a room, okay? And you shut the door and you put an empty canvas there. And when you come back, the Mona Lisa is there. What are the chances of that? Well, it would be about the same chances as all these coincidences happening. All these coincidences. Yeah, about the same, I'd say. All right, let's move on. And we've got this here for the next one. And it's a meme that we've seen many times before. Now that Russian collusion is proven a lie, when did the trials for treason begin? And Q is making reference to this meme. And then he's giving us a link to John Podesta's status on Twitter. And this is what it says. And yes, I did have a snarky comment for him. Yes, I did. I couldn't resist. How can I resist? Really. I feel even more snarky when I'm sparkly. I'm a snarky person that sparkles. It's just simple as that. So here, John Podesta says, let the 4chan lunatics and QAnon crazies commence. Okay. All right, you asked for it, John Podesta. You got it. Yeah, you got it. You're going to be memed to death. Yes, you are. So he's responding to Andy Kroll. It's painful and crazy. Former Clinton campaign chair John Podesta says about being the victim of the Pizzagate conspiracy theory, I'm pretty grizzled. One big difference is you've got somebody in the Oval Office, and what he says is that Trump is encouraging it. So now he's saying, let the 4chan lunatics and QAnon crazies commence. Okay. Okay. Yep. We can do that. We all know how to meme. Right? So if you're on Twitter, jump on. Let John Podesta know. I did. I'm on Twitter under Mishel, MISHELD, capital D, Bytes, BYTES. If you follow me on Twitter and you want me to follow you back, just let me know. If you ask me to follow you back and I don't respond right away, then ask me again, because I can miss things. I've got a lot of email and this and that I go through every day. So it's not on purpose. I wouldn't do that on purpose to anyone. So just try again. Anyway, so underneath that, we've got Q saying, define projection. Well, I think John Podesta would define projection quite well. As I said, yeah, we've all seen if you haven't, well, don't. It might really disturb you. It's stayed in my head since I saw it, and I saw it a very long time ago, but it's John Podesta, no mistaking that voice, and he's yelling at a little boy who's absolutely terrified in a shower, and he's yelling at him to call him daddy. And it's the most abusive thing I think I've ever heard. It's absolutely horrendous. But he's calling us the lunatics and the crazies. Okay, John. All right. And we've seen your taste in art. We have. So Q says, define projection. Well, we know what projection is, and we know that that's exactly what he's doing. Define getting ahead of the story. Okay. Now that's interesting, because if somebody knows a story is coming out, a lot of times, and I've seen this happen in real time with people that I was around, who a story was going to come out and they got ahead of it. They got way ahead of it, and they started denying it before it even hadn't even hit the news yet, and they're denying it, and they're setting it up, They're setting up their excuse already, and putting it in people's heads so that when the story does hit, people go, I don't know if I believe that. Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's getting ahead of the story. That means there is a story that's coming out, right? So we should be encouraged. Q wouldn't say that if there wasn't something coming. He wouldn't. We know that. We've been listening to him for a year now, and I think we've probably got a pretty good feel for how he communicates. We might not understand every nuance of what he has to say. I think there's a lot of stuff coded in these drops that we're going to be discovering for years. In fact, I think people will be looking back at this and finding things for a very long time, because there's more in this than meets the eye. But we do have a general feel for the way he talks and the way he discusses and the way he frames things. So that's what he's doing. He's giving us a heads up. Yeah, there's a story coming out. That's what he's doing. He's getting ahead of that story. What is scheduled to happen this week? Well, the testimony of John Huber, one thing. So, coincidence? Panic? This is as real as it gets. No escape, no deals. Add Brennan to graphic and update. Evil has no place here. Q. What graphic is he talking about? Well, he's talking about this one. We're going to look at it up close. This. And Brennan's not in this. So Q is saying, add Brennan to that graphic and update, because he's going to be in there too. So this must be pretty accurate, or else I think that Q would have said, oh, you need to take out so-and-so. They're not going to be prosecuted. You need to take out, you know what I'm saying? He's not saying that. He's saying add. You need to add Brennan. Yeah, the people you got behind bars there, that's good, but we need to add Brennan. So there you go. Now let's go back. That is a good tweet if you or that's a good drop if you ask me. And let's go up to the next one. And it says POTUS, period. NSA, period. United States Military. And he has G in brackets here. I'm trying to, I'm surprised, actually, I usually try to pull these things apart before I do the video, but I must have missed this one because I don't know what G stands for here. And then he says the Freedom Caucus, EST, Foreign and Domestic Patriots, 2015, the fight to save the world. Q. Now, I am going to have to examine this further because I don't know. There's something in there that he's telling us. There's a lot more in that than just meets the eye, and I need to look into this because it's 2015, the fight to save the world, foreign and domestic patriots, the Freedom Caucus, United States military. Perhaps this is all the people that are fighting POTUS, the NSA, the United States military, the Freedom Caucus, and foreign and domestic patriots. And the 2015, I don't know, maybe the fight's been, I don't know. That's a year before he won the election, so not sure. Not sure. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of that? Put it in the comments below. You've probably been out and listened to some other people that decipher the drops, and that's good. I think that that's good to do that because in the multitude of counsel there's wisdom, right? And usually if you listen to a few, you can discern for yourself and go, nah, I think that this person lost it over here. I don't think that's what that meant. And that's good because we're all learning. We're all trying to arrive at the truth, right? So that's good. I don't discourage that at all. I think that that's a wise thing to do, and I do it as well at times. Now, generally, if I have free time, I spend it looking into things that I don't know about because there's a lot of side trips that Q takes us on, and literally you could spend all your time just going off. They're not rabbit trails, really. They're, I don't know. They're not exactly rabbit trails because they're important, but there's just so much. Like the Paysor family. I have been researching that today. Oh my gosh, I had no idea. So anyway, now here is the next Q drop, and he is making reference to the drop that we just looked at from an anon with this meme here that says, now that Russia collusion is a proven lie, when do the trials for treason begin? Something that we all want to know. And down below, now did this person put, oh yes, this person put Brennan in. Okay, I got it. So they did go ahead and put Brennan in, I think. Let me just see. Yeah, they put Brennan in. And Q says, thank you, Patriot. Fire at will. Q. So he's saying, yeah, that's great that you updated it. Now go use it. Go use it. That's what he's saying. All right. Let's go up to the next tweet here. And it is a Twitter account. It is a link to a tweet, rather. And it says, public awakening equals game over. So right, they know that if the public wakes up, that the gig is up, right? Right? So what are they going to do? They're going to try everything in their power to make sure that the public doesn't wake up. And they've been fairly successful, except that Q has gone around them quite effectively, very effectively, and has been communicating quite nicely without them. So there are people that are waking up, but the general public, not so much. They're starting to, but they know they're trying to keep a lid on this, and it's getting too big to keep a lid on, you know? So it's hard to hide an elephant in the room. It is. You can disguise it in so many ways, but you know, it is quite hard to hide something that big. So let's look at this Twitter account. It belongs to Tony Schaefer, who I believe, who is Tony Schaefer? Does he work for the New York Times? I believe he does. Hang on one second. I want to make sure that I'm giving you the right information. I think he works for the New York Times. I could be wrong. It's not, it can't be this one. Anthony Schaefer, Intelligence Aid? No, I don't know. Let's go to his Twitter. I want to know who this is. Yo, he's a snarky bastard. That's how he describes himself. Don't kill the messenger. Snarky bastard. New York Times. Okay, no, he's a New York Times bestselling author, retired Intel operative, VP, London Center for Policy Research, advising producer, National Geographic, and Trump 2020 advisory board member. Okay, well, let's go back and see what he said. Now that we know who he is, you guys are saying, well, we know who he was. Why didn't you? I don't know. I don't know everything. Who said I knew everything? Nobody. Okay, now it says, whenever we see you tweeting like a seditious clown, John Brennan, we know you are projecting your guilt and corruption in your own vile effort to continue to deceive the American people. You know how much blood you have on your hands and the treason you have committed? Tick tock. Oh, I love that. That is snarky. I love it. I like this snarky person. I'm not going to say call him by what he calls himself. He's the snark master now, and I bow. I bow to the snark master. Okay, so he was doing that in response to John Brennan, who said, whenever you send out such inane tweets, and he was talking to who else but POTUS, I take great solace in knowing that you realize how much trouble you are in and how impossible it will be for you to escape American justice. Projection much? Mostly, I am relieved that you will never have the opportunity to run for public office again. We'll see about that, John Brennan. We'll see about that. But I love this response, and now that I know who he is, it makes all the more sense. Whenever we see you tweeting like a seditious clown, we know you are projecting your guilt and corruption in your own vile effort to continue to deceive the American people. Love it. Love it. So let's go on. And here we are at the next one. And I know you have no hope of seeing this, so I'm going to make it larger for you. Nothing's too good for you guys. Nothing's too good for you. Here we go. And here it is, and I know you still can't see it, so I'll make it bigger yet. And I might even do this to make it even bigger yet. Only because I like you guys. That's all. That's the only reason. Okay, here's Q predicting the failed, and this is by an anon, by the way. Q predicting the failed New York City suicide bomber. Now, this was December 9th, 2017, and this person has said Monday, December 11th, is noted as an important day. Here's Q on that Monday, which was 12/09/17. He said, tangent, expand your thinking. Q. Then we come down, December 10th, which would have been exactly 1 year ago today. This anon is saying blunt and direct time. Initials are BDT, evil, tick tock, and here is the Q post over here from the 10th of December 2017, exactly 1 year ago today. Blunt and direct time, Adam Schiff is a traitor to our country. Leaker, national security, evil, tick tock, hope the 7.8 million was worth it. Enjoy the show, Q. And then next on December 10th, this QAnon is saying false flags, expect fireworks, because POTUS on the same day said false flags. POTUS 100% insulated. Expect fireworks. Justice. Q. And down here, same day, December 10th, this Anon has said, man from Bangladesh attempted suicide bombing in New York City. Explosive device failed. Bomb was as harmless as a firework. And he is noting this article that appeared. And it's too small for me to be able to see where it was written. But anyway, and we come down here to December 11th, 2017, and BDT equals Bangladesh currency. Fireworks. The attack was thwarted. These people are sick. And we have Q here on 12/11/2017, 1 year ago from tomorrow. Do you believe in coincidence? Blunt and direct time. BDT. Think currency. Think fireworks. Thwarted. Message delivered. These people are sick. Q. Underneath, this Anon has said, do you believe in coincidences? Well, that was a big one. If you do, very big coincidence. So let's go back and see what Q has to say. Not there, here. And he said, example, 22A, one of hundreds. This is just one example out of hundreds. Drops layered to provide advance knowledge. Do not let them divide you. Panic button pushed. Q. Now, there's a reason why Q is bringing this up right now, I think. Because Q doesn't normally just bring stuff up for the heck of it. I'm thinking that there's something in the future that he's using this as an example to teach us how to read his communications. That's what I think. That's what I think. And he's saying, you need to look at this now because I'm going to need to communicate like this in the near future. So this is why I'm reminding you. That's what I get from this. Now, I could be wrong. It also is further proof of Q. But again, do we need at this point further proof of Q? No, there has to be another reason why he's bringing this up. That's the way I think anyway. And I think that he's pointing out that the drops are layered to provide advance knowledge. Do not let them divide you. Panic button pushed. They're panicking. So they're going to try anything. It's like a cornered animal. A cornered animal is very, very dangerous. You know, even if an animal is trapped, like I've seen videos of hunters freeing a deer from barbed wire and things, and that they've gotten caught in fencing and things, and it's very dangerous to approach that animal because even though you're trying to help them, the animal is unpredictable. Now they did the right thing. They brought several men to help them, but still, that's when an animal is the most dangerous, and these people are definitely cornered. So there you go. That's the way I look at that drop. If you look at it differently, then let me know. But I think that he is pointing that out so that we can learn the communications, because in the future, he's not going to be able to come right out and say things. He's going to have to do it in the manner that we've been accustomed to hearing it, because not everything will be public knowledge. But I do think that Q will do his best to let us know what is going on so that we can feel at least secure in this process. That's how I think anyway. Let's go up to the next one. And Q says, he's quoting JFK, very, very famous quote from JFK. The times are too grave, the challenge too urgent, and the stakes too high to permit the customary passions of political debate. We are not here to curse the darkness, but to light the candle that can guide us through that darkness to a safe and sane future. JFK, Q. So interesting and very poignant that he is quoting JFK, especially with what we have learned recently. There's been a huge tie-in with this president and JFK since the very beginning. And I look at the way Melania was dressed for the inauguration. Now, I think that, I think they were trolling personally, but she looked so much like Jacqueline Onassis, or Jacqueline Kennedy rather. I guess I knew her more as Jacqueline Onassis than I did Kennedy because I was too young for all that. So anyway, so she had that beautiful Tiffany blue dress that she had on, a coat. Oh, and the gloves. Who wears gloves anymore? I mean, generally that's not done in America anymore, but she had those gloves and she looked exquisite. And then she was carrying that Tiffany box. And inside, apparently, was a photo album. And I wonder if there were any photographs in that photo album. I think that there were. That's just me, but I do think that there were. And I think that the Obamas knew very, very well that she was trolling them, because Michelle Obama, it looked, she reacted like it was a scorpion. So there you go. There's been a tie-in since the very beginning with President Trump and Melania. So there you go. And let's come up to the next one, which is awesome. This is a cartoon by Ben Garrison, who is extremely talented. And it has nationalism, of course, in the form of the Eiffel Tower kicking out the globalists. And it's nationalism against globalism, and the nationalists are kicking the globalists out of France. And meanwhile, in the background, France is burning, which it is. And I think we can see this big enough without me going out to his Twitter page, because it's exactly the same on his Twitter page as this. So very well done, as are all of his cartoons, really. He's a very, very talented man. So let's go on. Q brought that to our attention, so I think that it's important that, we do see it. All right. And here is the next one. And it says, this is a little bit foreboding, but it's nothing. I mean, I've been hearing this for a very long time now. The plan to have the Fed raise rates, steep incline beginning March 2019 in an effort to kill the economy prior to 2020 presidential election, is known and planned for. Structure change coming. Now, he says structure change coming, but we already know that an anon asked him about the Fed, and he said it's not going to disappear, the structure is going to change. Remember that? Or it's going to be restructured. I can't remember the exact wording, but it was to the effect that no, it's not going to go away, it's going to be restructured. So he's telling us the exact same thing here, but he's giving us a forewarning. The Feds are going to raise the rates. There's going to be a steep incline beginning in March. Now, we know what that's going to do to the economy. We know it. But Q is telling us, it's known and planned for. So, and a structure change is coming. It kind of makes me nervous, because that the stock market's going to collapse when they raise when the Fed raises the rates. It's going to happen. So I don't know about you, but I'm planning on taking my money out before. Not that I have a huge amount in there, but whenever I have even a couple dollars to spare, I try to put it into a stock, because, I'll spend it on something stupid rather than saving for my future. So I do try to do that whenever possible. And I don't have, I haven't amassed enough that I can just go, oh, well, no, I keep a close eye on it. So anyway, there you go. That is something that you should know and should plan for. Seriously. He's already told us, and he's been right in the past. So I would say that you need to make plans accordingly. Now, here we go. And this is the last tweet of the day. Now, actually, that's a lie. I don't absolutely know that it's the last tweet of the day. It's the last tweet that was dropped, but the day's not over yet. So Q could still post today, but as it stands right now, this is the last one, and it's making reference to Samantha J. Powers' Twitter account, a tweet that she made, and it says this. Now, Samantha Powers, I know she is a professor at Harvard, and she's also something else. I think she was ambassador to the UN at some point. Again, I'd have to go out and look, but here she says, "Stop this, headline writers. If you want to quote this president in a headline in an age when many people read only headlines, you must write, Trump, a proven serial liar, says. But best not to quote him in a headline." Well, thank you, Samantha Powers, for being the goddess over all headline writers. And, you know, I really honestly don't know what these people think. Seriously, I don't. I really don't. They believe they have so much more power than they do. When really, she just comes across as silly and childish. Stop this, headline writers. Stop. Stop it or I'm going to stick my tongue out. Anyway, so Q responds to this and says, "Those with the most to lose are the loudest. Those who knowingly broke the law in a coordinated attempt or in a coordinated effort, treason, are the most vocal. Crimes against humanity. Q." So that was his response. Those with the most to lose are the loudest. Does she have a lot to lose? Maybe. I think that's what Q's saying here. Those who knowingly broke the law in a coordinated effort to commit treason are the most vocal. Oh, they sure are. We just heard from John Podesta, John Brennan. We know those guys are guilty. Don't know what Samantha Powers done yet, but I bet you we will. So they're the most vocal. Crimes against humanity. Q. And that's what they are. And I think we are only beginning. This is just the first part of December. We're a third of the way through. I think we've got a lot to happen before the first of the year. And some of it may be literally, I love this word gobsmacking. It's just not a word in my Canadian vocabulary, nor was it a word in my American vocabulary. So I've added it. I think I got it originally from an Australian friend of mine who moved to the States and has now moved back to Australia. But I loved that, gobsmacked. I mean, doesn't that just say it all? So, yeah, I do believe we are going to be gobsmacked. And if there was a better word than that, I would use it. Anyway, that is what we have for tonight. And I think I'm going to call it a night here. And I'll be on the lookout for more Q posts, and I will bring them to you when they arrive. And if not, I will be back tomorrow with more Q related news. I intended to do 2 videos today. I didn't make it because I had some things that absolutely had to get done. But tomorrow I'm aiming for 2, so we'll see if I make it. At the very least, there'll be 1. So there you go. I'll talk to you guys later. I hope you have a good night. Sleep well, stay safe, and stay blessed. I will see you real soon. Thank you guys so much. You guys are wonderful. I love reading your comments. You make me laugh almost every day. So that is awesome. Good night.